I don't usually do build videos because it takes just too much time, filming, editing, all that sort of stuff. But I want to do some upgrades. I want to do some upgrades to my Clod Buster, or Bullhead actually, and we're going to put the upgrades on. I'm going to try to film it. I'll show you what the upgrades are, and I think it should take me a couple hours. I have quite a bit to do, but check it out. Alright, so yesterday I attempted to do too much, and I was working on my Bullhead, Clodbuster Bullhead, and I tried to do too many things at once with no instruction manuals, so it took forever. My lights died, my camera died, so I did half it, so let me show you. So there we go. This is my Bullhead, and what I've been doing, I've been installing a few things. And you notice there's new shocks up front. That's one of the upgrades I'm doing. But the major thing, and what we're going to focus the video on today, is this little kit right in here. The JConcepts Renegade steering kit that goes behind the axle. And it's very cool because it stops it from getting damaged. It also allows me to put cool things like this front bumper that will protect my poor body. You notice I have on the back, I also have a wheelie bar. These are from what's called Redback Racing, and I'm in China, I just find this stuff on Taobao. But you can probably find it on eBay. Just write in, or Google Marketplace or whatever. Just write in like eBay, not eBay, just write in Clod upgrades, and you'll probably see some of this kind of weird anodized aluminum to look like copper. So I did the front yesterday, many mistakes, and I took too much off when I took it off, and assembled some things 3 times. You know, if you want to get it right, you got to do it 3 times. So today I'm actually going to film doing the back end. And what we'll focus on, I put in bearing kit, did a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to put the bearing kits in and stuff, but what I'll focus the film on is installing the Renegade steering servo setup. Now, I actually did it different than the instructions. Well, there are no instructions that I had in my package. I just found the video online from JConcepts, but I've done it differently, and it works better in a way, especially if you are going to do a servo saver like I have here. I have a GPM servo saver. It runs quite high, so I had to run things at different heights, run things at different lengths, and it works really well. And I got loads of steering. I'm actually running the wheels almost into these stays, so I'll have to limit that. Set the end points. Alright, so here we go. Oh, I'll also be putting a plate in there today, so we'll see that when it's all done. Bullhead. So what I'll be putting on video anyway, I actually have a few upgrades. I'm putting on these hot racing aluminum steering knuckles, and they actually work with I think it's a hot racing axle, but I couldn't buy them. I bought these in RC Mart in Hong Kong like 6 months ago or something. I don't even know if they're still available, but definitely going to help steering. A lot stronger than the plastic ones. There's that GPM long steering servo. Servo horn, servo saver horn. And I'll be throwing this plate in the middle just because I bought it. And I bought a couple things when I was trying to improve the steering before, putting heavier links and stuff, and I bought this. It won't really do anything now, it'll just sit in the middle, but since I own it, I'll be putting that on. And of course, 4 more shocks on the back. Those are also Redback Racing. Very, very cheap. About $50 for 8. So, and they're alright. They work alright. They have stops in them. But my front bumper actually hits the frame before it hits the stops. Don't know if that's going to be a problem. So this is the main thing for our video. So I'll disassemble and then I'll focus in on installing the, I've been saying Renegade, haven't I? Regulator. The Regulator steering setup. This is made for the Regulator frame, which I didn't buy. It's about 230 bucks, and it cost me like $35 US to get it shipped to me. So I was like, I think I'll stick with the plastic one. This is not for racing. This is just for fun. I don't need to perform super well. I have 2 other monster trucks. I have the LMT. It works quite well. And I have my TFL that I modded. So we'll be installing this. I just want good steering, and this should deliver it. Alright, and I'll be sticking with the silver cans. A lot of people said like, oh, why are you doing all these upgrades? Why don't you upgrade? Oh, cat. Meow, meow, meow. Why don't you upgrade the motors? Because I don't really want this to go fast. This is rinky dinky. Stuff will break, and yeah, I don't want to break stuff. So, let's get at it. Alright, we're going to start. We'll take the wheels off. Let's move this a little bit. Alright, let's start by taking the wheels off. Get those off. Lots of tools here. We'll take all 4 off. Just because it makes it a lot easier. See those aluminum steering knuckles, which are super awesome. Get the wheels off. Now, we're going to take the axle completely off. So if you want to do the steering kit, you need to take it off the system. Now, you also need to take these off because you need to flip them. You notice the front one's already done, the silver, they're pointed backwards, so these will actually be flipped. And here they set high side, and when you flip them, they set to the low side. This is not in the middle. So go ahead, and we'll take that off. Now I will be replacing the shocks, so I could pull those off right now, or I could just pull them off the bottom. Be gentle. This plastic mount is not the strongest thing in the world. I think I'll just unscrew them from the top. So I'm not going to use them anymore. The worst suspension in the world. Alright, we got those off. Everything's set and loose. And the next thing to do is to remove up here. I don't need to take them off at the bottom. I need to take them off at the top. And we'll flip it over. Make it a bit easier to work with. We'll pull those screws. once those are off, you can just unhook the center links. Oh, probably should unhook the steering linkage. I'm just going to take it right out. We're not going to be using that anymore. Let's see. And there we go. Let me get my wheelie bar in the back. You can see I'm using really heavy links, so I was trying to improve the terrible steering, but it's much better to have a frame mounted servo. Now I know where the other bolt came from. Let's throw those in the box. Another thing I'll do now is we'll take this off and we'll take out the servo from the center, because there's our servo inside. Alright, I've taken out the servo so we can put this aside, and I put in that plate as well. It's not really going to do anything now, and I had another one to put the servo on because I was trying to stiffen things up. That's why I had those heavy links and stuff, and I bought this. But we're going to throw away the center servo, but this is still kind of useful. This is not. We'll just set that to the side, and we'll put this down. Alright, so what we gotta do is we gotta get this ready. Now, I am gonna be installing ball bearings. I won't bother putting that on the film. There's several ball bearings inside I gotta take apart. The other ones go in the ends, which I'll do when I put the new aluminum ends on. I'm just gonna clean some of the dust off this as we go. And I'm gonna have to take off this and mod it actually. If in here we have a little gap, and that's actually where the steering servo is going to go. It's going to be down this side, so if I can't get the bracket in, I'll have to pull this off and Dremel the side off it. That's what I had to do on the front. Alright, so what do we need to do? You don't need to take the motor off, but we are going to take the motor off because it just makes it easier. But it also makes it easier to show on film. So we will be pulling the motor. Gonna take this brace off. I'm going to take it all apart. I'm not going to show that in film, so all this will be off afterwards. Yeah. So we'll pull the links off because we don't need the links anymore. Oh, there's our servo. And I had an aluminum horn on it because I was trying to make everything stiffer. Well, let's pull that off now. Oh, if it wants to come off. Alright, so we got our servo ready. Good stuff. Great servos. Really loud though. Now, I'm going to take this off. I'll just pull it off here. We got our motor, silver can, Bucky RS540SH. Yeah, there's people on Facebook are saying, hey, upgrade the motors, go faster, but I don't really want this to go faster. This stuff is brittle. This shiny plastic, all of it's really kind of brittle. One thing about going faster is your shocks mount to this, which is a horrible idea, but they mount to this, and see the mounts in there. And that's brittle plastic, and that's not thick. So if you go fast with that, maybe I'll make a piece for the back. Possibly get ones with longer, but it's not really a super duper idea. So to put it on, that's all you really need to take off. Besides these, so that's all you really need to remove from here. You don't really need to remove the motor. We have done so anyway. I'm going to pull out these. Pull them out all together. Cap off. Keep that together. There we go. But I will be taking apart more because I want to put the bearings in. I'll be doing that off camera because I just want to focus on this. So another thing you need to take off are these. Oh, that one has a screw. Must be the original Tamiya stuff. I don't replace, unless I have some titanium screws, but Tamiya loves the screws. If you are actually going to do Tamiya builds and keep the screws, get a Tamiya screwdriver. The tip that focuses is absolutely the right size. I find Tamiya screws with a normal, like American screwdriver, I think they're too pointy. Like these are quite blunt and square, and they work really well. I think the Japanese screw is slightly different than the Phillips you have overseas. Alright, that's out. Some good linkages. Put those on something else. And we'll take off our steering cups, hubs, things. And we're not going to use these, but you can. I just happen to have the hot racing ones. So since we're not going to use these, I have to take out, off this piece. Oh, let's take off the other side. So if you are going to use these on your build, you want to get rid of either that tab on the axle part or the little bump so you can get more steering. That's what's limiting your steering. I'm not going to use these, and the new ones I put on are so much smaller they don't even touch. But you want to ground those down so you can get more steering out, top and bottom. So that's basically all you have to remove. And from this point, you can put your servo setup. Now I have this on. I actually have to remove this probably to get the mount in there. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this all apart and put in ball bearings. I'm going to be disassembling these because I need the axles out of them. I want to show you a little tool, E-clips or E-rings, Tamiya E-ring tool. This is amazing. It's got two little nibs on it, and I'll just put that against the ends of the E-clip, push, and voila, E-clip comes off. Well, almost. And voila, there's the E-clip. So a lot of people struggle with those. Get one of these get a Tamiya E-ring tool. Good stuff. Alright, mine just all slides apart. You'll see the awesome plastic bearing because I just built it kit. I didn't have extra bearings at the time. And that's why I need to take everything apart anyway. Yeah, so we're just going to go off camera. And I'm going to completely disassemble this. Throw in my bearings. Get my bearings ready, sealed bearings. And then when we come back, it'll be all together, and we'll put the steering on. Alright, so I got all the bearings installed in this. I removed the mounts here because I'm going to be doing my own shocks, but she's all ready to go. So if you're installing the Regulator steering servo, this is about the state of disassembly you want. All these things can remain attached. I took off my wheelie bar. That'll be going back on though. And here we go. So, open up the package. Clear a little space, and I'll dump everything out. Now this doesn't actually come with instructions, but there are instructions online. You have your steering arm. This is a lockout. If you just want to put it on the front, you just attach this to the back. You turn the arms around the same as on the front, and you attach this to the back and it will lock out. I'm not going to do that because I want four-wheel steering. So we're going to start with the servo mount. I'll take the servo mount, take it out. Now where it's going to go, it actually sets in here, right in there. Just sets in. There's little tabs, you can see, and it just locks in. So before we do that, we're going to attach the servo to it. That's the easiest way to do it. So we got our servo arms. The servo will attach to. We'll just take those out. There we go. Got our arms. There's one for each side. There's an angle cut on them, and that will set in to the angles on here. So this one will set nicely here. And the other one will go on the other side. So we need our screws. So we'll cut this bag open. The bottom set of screws, so this is for the steering, this set's for the lockout. We won't be using those. Just dump them all out. We need them all. Well, we won't be using them all. We're going to do spacing, and we're going to do things a little bit different. And even if you're not installing a servo saver, you might want to do this anyway. So first, we need the 4 screws for this, and they're the shortest ones. Just set those out. Oh, that's a long one. It's the same thing on the front. When I was doing the front, oh wait, there it is. I guess I lost one when I did the front. So we're going to use a little Tamiya thread lock wherever I put it. That's grease, thread lock. Where are you, thread lock? Oh, must be over here. So anyway, oh, there it is. Little Tamiya thread locker. Put some thread lock on those. There we go. Excellent stuff. I don't use Loctite, I use this liquid thread lock. Doesn't hurt the plastics. That's the problem with Loctite, it will hurt the plastics. So all locked together, or all screwed together. Now we want to put the servo on. Okay, servo. So you want to take your mount, and you have your bracket there, and your servo goes in from the bottom, and you want the arm on this side, the same side as your bracket. Alright, put the thread lock on. So we're going to attach that from the bottom of the mount. Now we'll put these in. We won't put them super tight until all of them are in. Yeah. Alright, get that all on. So all that will go on in a moment. This thing's kind of in the way. It'll set in right there. And there's your servo. So we're not going to put that on yet. I'm going to put on next. We're going to put on the servo horn. So to do that, I need to center this. Oh, we'll get our. Oh, not that. Get our GPM servo horn. I could hook this to a receiver and find center. Or I could just do it this way. There's close to center as we're going to get. So you mount the servo horn on, you want it to be pointed back towards where the pumpkin is, where the drive shaft is, or towards the back where you get. Oop. Well, you want to screw it in before you do that. Okay? So it'll be down, I guess, same direction as your mount. Put the ball on the end. I just want to check my other one to make sure. Make sure it's the right length. The short one. Ow. So that goes down. We're going to put it in the center. Now, this set's really high, and it's 20 millimeters long, and they say 18. So this hole will be about 18, but we're going to set it at 20. That works for us. So put a little thread lock on that too. Everything gets to be thread locked. There we go. Nice and tight. From here we'll actually put it on the chassis. Alright, so we're ready to put this on. To put it on, we use this bracket. and it sets up underneath, so it's actually pretty easy to do. Now I'm going to throw a little Loctite in the threads on this, a little thread locker. A little too much. So that just sets up underneath of the crossbar. So you just, so that's right there. This goes on top. And you get the next size screw. There'd be two of them, a little bit longer. And you just screw those in. There we go. Make sure this arm is out of the way before you do that. It doesn't really want to go around. There we go. And it's on. Let's see it from the bottom there. Got our ball. So we got to put the steering linkages in. Before we do that, I got to put my aluminum parts on. I'm using these HR Racing aluminum steering knuckles. So pretty simple installation. You can really see that that's not a centered piece, same on the original. So I want them to go back and I want them to be low. So this one will go here. So before I do that, I need to throw in some bearings. So continuing on, I have to put on the steering arms, and I want the lower, I want it this way, so it's lower, point it backwards. So it will actually go right there. Alright, so we got our cups on, we turn backwards, let's hit the lower level, and that's what we're going to connect our steering arm to. Now, as far as the instructions go, this is where I do things a little bit different. We're going to get our arm out. Nice fiberglass piece, really stiff. So the arm goes on like that, basically. So we're going to take our little bearings, I'm going to snap them in. Bearings. Now we're going to do it a little bit different than they say we should, because we need to create space for our servo saver, because this is going to knock into this. We don't want that. So I need longer screws, and I have some to start out. See, these are the ones the kit comes with. I think we need those ones. See if I can find another of the same length. So the ones that the kit comes with are these. They're made for this section. And we're going to use ones that are quite a bit longer, because we are adding in spacers. So we're going to put it in the outside hole, and I'm going to go ahead and screw those through from the top. Okay, so they're in nice and tight. Now next thing we're going to do, we're going to take these nuts. Now if you're using the plastic steering arms, you'll need these because there's no thread in them. I'm using them anyway because it's acting as a spacer. So we get those in. Now, in the kit version, you'd put in these cups now, like the way it's supposed to be built. My problem is if I do that, and I'll show you, if I stop there, I push everything all the way down, it actually rubs right there. It's rubbing on my servo horn, so I don't want that. So I'm going to pull this off, take out these, we're going to put in some spacers. Now these spacers I have actually come with a set of Tamiya shocks, but they work. They're the right thickness for what I need. You could use anything really, but these are actually a nice size, nice thickness. I'm just going to slide those on. Then we'll take these little ends, we'll slide those on. And then we're ready to put this on. Now, there's lots of gap, you can see. Lots of gap. So no matter where that goes, there's a nice gap. But before I do that, let me pull that up. I should actually put it on the ball end. I use the long ball end and I use the lock nut. That I just dropped on the floor. Okay, so let's put on the ball end. Use a lock nut. So when we install this, this points backwards. This end goes towards the back. It slides over on the other side. There we go, we get it all on. Now there's one more added benefit to making this, to spacing this section out. And is you don't have to, if you're using these old arms, you don't have to make a space for the old arms. Everything is going to work. I'll show you on the completed one. So if you actually watch their installation video, this here, the steering arm, actually will chafe against these suspension arms. So they tell you the Dremel out of space for it, but when there is more space, it doesn't do that. There's plenty of gaps. You don't have to weaken weaken these weak arms. That's another benefit of doing it that way. Now you want to make this link a little bit longer, so I'm going to put that on because it's a little bit farther apart, because I'm using a 20mm here, and here I've heightened it or lowered it. It's upside down. Take the pin, shove it in one side at random, find the little one, screw that in. And we'll use some force here, and we'll just snap them together. And there we go. It's done. The steering linkage is installed. And all I gotta do is put this back on the truck. I won't bother filming that because you've seen me take it off the truck. It's just the reverse process. And also, now I gotta fool around with this. Ooh. And get this installed. And because I have this bracket here, this piece needs to be ground down. So I'll do that off camera. I'll put it on the truck, and then we'll turn it on and test it out. Alright, I got it finished. Here's the big boy. We got our new shocks on, which are nice. Front bumpers there, saw that before. Back, all the back together. Nice. So here's what we've been working on. Our dual servo setup, front and back. Actually, front and back. So it's pretty well set up. I think I got it mostly straightened out. I've had it on. I don't know. These two big servos running, and then using this little Tamiya included speed control, and then I'm running 9mm batteries. I don't know if that's a good mix. I had the speed control overheat just running it around the house. Anyway, let's turn it on. Let's turn the radio on. There we go. We got it running. Works. So you can see all four tires working, no problem. So there you go. We have our dual servo setup, axle mounted servos. The whole system just cut out right there on video. I was just going to show you the tires moving. I've had it on carpet, tires moving. But this just shut down again, and I don't know why. So I guess I was going to put some running footage. I was going to take it outside, but look, it's completely, oh, there we go. That works. You can see it'll move the wheels when she is stationary. So I'm pretty pleased. This is an awesome kit. I don't know what's up with my electronics. Really wondering if having two Savax servos is something up with the ESC. But it works really well. Putting that height down, it's not running into any of these arms or any of these things. It's nice space. I can run my big servo savers, which I think are necessary. With tires this large and you're hitting things, and you can rip apart those Savex servos. I've done that before. I think I've done that on video by smashing into things with big tires. There you go. Hopefully that's helpful. If you're actually going to do this upgrade, I think it's an excellent upgrade. I love where the servo sits in there. You can take a look. See, it sat in there right behind the motor. You can see it in there. Servo's right there, right behind the motor. Nice and safe. It's never, especially with this on, but even without it, it's never going to get smashed by anything. The only thing I could see happening, if you're running through weeds and stuff, especially because I set it a little bit lower, you do have your steering arm down underneath, right? So that could catch on something. You could rip off that little connecting link, which would be easy to put back on. That's the only thing. I don't know about the space, but maybe you could put it on the other side. That's quite possible. Or maybe you could just put a little guard on, which I might do, a little tin guard. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased, and just as soon as I figure out that power issue, you can let me know in the comments if you know if this little ESC has anything to do with it. It's run fine in the past before. The only thing different now is there's two servos on it. That's the only thing. I may go to LiPo. I like to keep this old, kind of old tech just running NIMEYES, but maybe I have to do that. I might put the Hobby Wing. Hobby Wing makes one. I'm really happy. I've never been happy with the Tamiya ESCs. In another rig, like a couple of rigs, I was running the like the Superstock RZ, BZ, and the speed control would constantly overheat. And I threw in, I can throw a fan on, but I threw in the Hobby Wing quick run one. Never ever had a problem. So that might be a solution here. I might throw the Hobby Wing on. In that case, I might go to LiPo because the Hobby Wing has the LiPo cutoff, and this actual battery bay can hold LiPos really easily. So I might do that. But that's I might do that. But that's it for today. Hopefully that vid helps. I know JConcepts has their own video up. Yesterday when I was doing the front, I was staring at it. I didn't have the sound on, but just looking for what part went where. I guess the instructions for this servo kit actually maybe come with the chassis, I'm assuming, because I've seen people with the paper instructions. That chassis upgrade is possible in the future if I could figure out how to get rid of these plastic links and go with connecting rods. Maybe I will upgrade to that. As it is though, I'm pretty happy with it. This should work well, and hopefully in a future video you'll get to see it driving around. But for now, we'll just leave it sitting here. Have a good day.